What's up, everybody, and welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. We are excited to be here tonight. We have an action-packed episode, as always. However, we are down a man. Jake bailed on us. He had a work conflict. We'll give him a pass, I guess, because it's a money-making conflict, but we're not going to let these slide throughout the year. We have a lot of important news, especially in the mid-3, but I am joined alongside JP and Reese, two very important people in my heart. Let's go to JP first. You ready to talk a little bit of the mid-3 Iowa, Nebraska in the news today?
Yeah, I feel like we have had a hot week for this. Like, we had the Proctor emergency pod last night. You had a Trev Alberts pod last week that was an emergency one. We're all over the place. And it hasn't been for great news necessarily, but we've been busy. It's given you the itch to do the live show this week. One we're going to go a little bit lighter on, have a little bit of fun with it before we really get into the spring transfer window, which just looks like it's going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. You've seen Hayes Fawcett come out and say there's a lot of names going to jump in that spring portal alongside another On3 reporter. I can't think of the name right now. He said definitely going to happen. So I assume we're going to see some big names moving big places, some that we don't expect. Reese, are you looking forward to the transfer portal window? Do we have a bunch of more news coming? How you doing tonight?
It's probably going to be crazy. I mean, somebody hinted at it in our Twitter DM group chat or whatever, that there's another potentially big name from a powerhouse school that might be leaving here soon. Not sure if it's going to be true or not, but I don't think Proctor's going to be the biggest name to kind of jump ship this spring as well too. But I want to give a shout out to our buddy Rick for jumping in on the emergency pod last night with our boy JP.
Yeah, you bet.
Rick's a good guy. Going to be joining, I think, JP with the Iowa information now. Rick, one of my good friends from back home, so we love you, Rick. Thanks for joining the pod for a little bit, bud.
Yeah, Rick was on last night with JP on the Proctor Emergency Show. He was great. Give that a listen. It's right over on our YouTube. If you're listening on X, if you're on YouTube, just a click away. Give it a like. Hit the subscribe button. You're in the perfect spot for everything you need college football-wise. We'll take you through everything. The schedule tonight, as you can see, we have recent news. We're always going to cover recent news. We didn't have a lot, I would say, 2 days ago, creating the plan for the show. And then all of a sudden, boom, fire, boom, fire,
Yep.
boom, fire. So college football always keeps us on our toes. The 14-team playoff, we're going to discuss that a little bit. They finally put into stone the revenue shares that we discussed last week, but there's still some question marks around that. We need to talk about the state of college football. And then we're going to do that March Madness spin, college football style, based upon the 2023 teams, not what you're going to see on the field, but whether or not we think they would have won last year. So it should be a fun one. We're going to put our spin on it, but let's jump in. Let's go to recent news. Leading off, unfortunately, in recent news is the University of Nebraska, and that was Trev Alberts last week departs for Texas A&M. It was an absolute shell shock of news. It was not something I was happy about, not something the fan base was happy about, and it was blindsiding. It was a typical thing until about 9:30 a.m. when all of a sudden a tweet drops that Texas A&M is going after Trev Alberts. Why would that happen? We have no idea. He just launched a $450 million project. I'm sure you've seen everything going around on Twitter. The fan base is not happy. It's a guy who has his number retired in the stadium. He was an alumni, an All-American player at Nebraska. It just seemed like it was the perfect athletic director for the university to have. And then he just jumped ship for some oil money. However, I am excited to talk about. I'm not going to tell you I have a source because I don't want you to think that I'm a very trustworthy person. I'm a fan, just like most of you. That's why you're here. But I did have somebody from the inside tell me that he was going to get fired. There was a 4-3 vote in the Board of Regents that he was going to be fired because he was asking too much of donors for this project. He only had about $220 million of it made up. So the school is going to have to take on enormous debt, which it's one of the only athletic departments in the country without any debt to get this project done. I'm not saying it doesn't need to happen because it does, but I've heard that Trev Alberts was going to be fired. And now with how quick the hiring, which our next point of recent news will be, came in, it adds up even a little bit more because it took 6 days. It took 6 days for Nebraska to go find a new athletic director. I think that idea might have been floating around a little bit beforehand, considering it's taken us 8 months to hire a university president, which is also supposed to happen this week. So that's obviously big news and a huge blow to Nebraska fans. And just the tradition of the school that Trev Alberts just bails on us. JP, as a rival, it's probably good news for you. It kind of felt good that we had a shitty day, but what were you thinking on this?
To be honest, I was just kind of along for the ride. Just wanted to know what was going on. It feels like maybe it was a bigger deal in the state of Nebraska to those fans than it was people around them. Like your AD is a big part of your athletic department. Obviously, it's a massive part of your football department. Like it controls who gets hired, fired, where you're throwing money, probably a relationship with your NIL collective. I think it was more to do with just seeing the panic that set in out of nowhere and just like seeing that rather than like, oh, I didn't think they were going to be in a bad spot. If you had made a bad AD hire, there's ways to get around that, right? But it was nice to see a fire on the other side of the river, knowing that, not knowing, I guess, one was coming back to the other side.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of the thought I had last night initially was, it sucks. And what he did, which we'll dive into Proctor, but what he did is just awful in my opinion. And if it happened to my school, I would have been infuriated, but it felt good to have, a little sweat on somebody else because I just had to
100%.
experience it. So
Quick
I get
deflection.
that from both views. What about you, Reese? Do you think we should take his jersey number off the stadium for a move like that?
Probably. I mean,
That's what I think
I
so
don't
too.
know.
I like
Yeah,
no,
burn
no,
it
no.
down. Burn it down, man. Burn it down. He was gonna
Yeah.
he was gonna have debt. They were gonna fire him. Yeah, burn it all down. Who cares? Reputation tarnished.
I agree. I think most people are saying the same thing. A lot of people are like, he did the right things. Let me be very clear. I thought he was great when he was athletic director at Nebraska, but it was so blindsiding and it just feels like such a snake move because of the ties he had to the university. Like if it was a guy like who we hired, that doesn't hurt as much. But when your name is on the stadium where you're the athletic director and you just bail and you send everybody an email, not an announcement, not a presser, nothing. You send your team an email and everybody finds out through social media. It stings a little bit. I won't lie. But
How long had
we
he
did-
been there?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was that long. I was like, yeah, he's been fine there, but I wasn't sure if he was around for the hire.
And
And
he had
whoever
a-
the hell was the guy before Frost? I was like, if he's
Yeah,
around
he
for
had
that, then probably good. Probably
Bill
good.
Moose. Bill Moose retired out of nowhere, just resigned out of nowhere too. That was weird. And then Eichhorst, dumbass, was before him. But Bill Moose was not terrible, but he just jumped ship. But I will say it was shocking, like I've said. But when you hear Texas A&M, what's your first thought? He's getting
Money.
paid. Yeah,
Money,
he's getting
money,
paid.
money. There's no shot this kid's in his car right now, right?
I think he is.
Do you see
Why?
this?
Jacob.
No, I can't. We can. Oh yeah, he is in here. Jake making a rare appearance from the car. He's just for the boys. We can't even see him.
Don't drive on your phone, kids.
Can't see him.
Just you can podcast on your phone. So
Yeah, we can't see him, but he is there.
shit, if I can hear you.
We'll deal with
faintly,
the
speak up.
technical
We'll bring him
difficulties in the
in. We'll bring him
background.
in.
There he is. There he is.
Jake.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear
You
you.
sound like a caller at like 6 a.m. on local sports talk radio.
Yeah.
he's in the
Northwest
passenger
Iowa.
seat, kids.
Hey, that's what makes us raw, baby. This is what we do.
Are we really
that
gonna
mute
roll with
button's
this?
going to become your best friend.
Yeah,
That's why.
our best friend. Our best
Favorite
friend.
control the
But
road rage.
just going on with what we were going on. Jumping to today, 6 days later, here comes the hero, Troy Dannon from the University of Washington, who gets hired at Nebraska. What a beautiful move. What an unexpected name. Obviously, we take a couple of looks at things. I take my guess. I said Brendan Stye, somebody from the in-house. Then I was like, all right, who runs a really good collective and could be good? I'm like, oh, maybe Ole Miss's AD. Out of the clouds, here comes 5-month term at University of Washington. I like it. I'm not going to lie. I really liked it. There's a lot of things around him on social media. Obviously, Washington fans are pissed, but 5 months isn't even enough time to develop anything. If you're being,
I think he was onboarded. He said, "This is the direction we want to go." Started moving things. Then he's gone. Like the guy didn't have time to put any like real like plans together. Like everything probably got set in stone, and then he was like, "Actually, I'm gonna pass." So,
Yeah, and it's weird because it's interconference now. It's an interconference move. It's obviously eye-opening because we will play Washington some point in the very near future, I'm sure. But I'll take it. I really will. From what was out there and kind of it's so hard with an athletic director, like we talked about last week, because you don't know anything on a personal level. Like coaches, who doesn't have a job or who may be looking to move, but athletic director, there's so many personal ties. their families there. Like it's a business decision more than a sporting decision or a career advancement position. But I will say it's a career advancement position. Nebraska has a better job than Washington. I'll stand by that for the rest of my life, because taking a look back at his resume, he's at UNI from 2008, 2015 as a Marshalltown, Iowa native. Shout out Wade Canada. So
Love you, Wade.
he's very Midwestern based. And then he went down to Tulane at a pretty successful tenure there. They obviously are a very good G5 program.
He was
But
responsible for the Willie Fritz hire down there to turn that program
Yep.
around. So like he's made big hires before. Not granted, not at the power level, but that's still massive to have a program flip like that and then that be that good. You're right, after one hire.
Yep. And that's a very good thing to have. And I was also responsible for the two biggest donation funds ever at Tulane, the two biggest projects. Granted, here was the total of these two projects, 10 million. And we have a $450 million project sitting on our desk, but you're dealing with a little bit different money than you are at UNI, at Tulane, and at Washington. And you just become the second most powerful person in the state next to the governor. And I promise you, if anybody tells you otherwise, you're not listening. What do you got, Jake? Were you going to add in there? I heard the card right.
Yeah, wasn't he? I mean, he was the AD that got him out of the Superdome, right? Like
Yes.
He's the one who got him in charge of the football stadium. And you kind of wonder, like, was he a Nebraska fan growing up? Because why wouldn't he have tried to apply for the Iowa AD job when it was open a couple months ago?
I'm sure
You know what I
he
mean?
did. They didn't really release a lot of those names that applied. I'm sure if he's at Tulane, I'm sure he's looking for bigger jobs. Like Parks was talking about, like this is just jumping up, not necessarily in job, but like school and the amount of money you're dealing with and how big the programs are around you.
Yeah, and he's making quite the paycheck. He is making quite the paycheck. It was released today. $1.6 million annually a year with a $100,000 bonus each year. So over the next 6 years, he'll go up $100,000 every year. So he's barely squeaking by in Lincoln. I think you can live comfortably.
That'd be cool.
And $1 million signing bonus. So just $1 million for coming into the state. However, here's where Nebraska said, no, we're not having this happen again. His buyout, if he doesn't complete the first year of his contract, $12.5 million if he tries to get out of this. So no 5-month term here unless he wants to deal with some bankruptcy. So he's in it for the long haul. I know Washington fans were absolutely pissed. One of the first things I saw was, here's a quote from him where he said, Washington's the end game for me. I wanted to get to a bigger place. I'm here now. This is where I see myself for the foreseeable future. Boom, 5 months. Daddy comes calling. Go Big Red. So I'm excited for the move. Very important for us to have this. Hopefully we get a president. We'll have a full staff. Matt Rule responded to it well. Hoiberg responded to it well. So good day for Nebraska athletics. But moving on, let's go to the Proctor news. JP, we talked a little bit about it last night on your show. We talked for about 30 minutes. Rick joined. It was awesome. But tell us about what happened. Talk us through it.
A lot of the stuff last night is pure instant reaction. And so if you get a chance to go watch that on YouTube, a lot of it is not a lot had come out yet. The only thing was we had known that he was entering the portal. He was assumed to go back to Alabama. And that was pretty much it. This morning, we got a lot more. The CEO of the Swarm Collective, Brad Heinrichs, actually went on a couple of shows and also sent an email out to Swarm members about the situation. So I just want to clear everything up. I didn't say anything last night that I regret. I think I said everything exactly how I understood it. So I wasn't saying he did this, he did that, he didn't do this. Basically, here's the situation. Swarm Collective and other collectives work like this. The money that is brought in and fundraised by ADs, by events, by people, the working class people who pay for a membership or pay to be a part of the collective is one side. And then there is a business side or an incorporated side. Now, these would be your car dealerships, your restaurants, your law firms, all of these things that sponsor the collective and have students do things for them. So he was paid as a part of an incorporated part of that. So he got paid by a business to do an ad or to be sponsored by them or to be an athlete of that car dealership. He was not paid a dime of donators. We'll call them
donors.
None of their money. So the working class people didn't give him any money. He didn't walk out with $100,000 of people of the state of Iowa's money. So that's kind of where that is. But he was paid in some. They would stop paying him as soon as they were notified. There's a whole thing about an email that Heinrich sent out telling everybody how it works and kind of reassuring them that they weren't screwed over by this move. The kid didn't get all their money in the run. And so if you want to go check that out. I go a little bit deeper into what it means for Iowa, what it means for this kid, and all that stuff. But it's really important to kind of look at this and understand that players aren't protected, right? Like that's why the NIL thing came into fruition. It's why it is now one of the biggest talking points in sports of all time. But either are collectives, right? Like collectives get screwed over just as much. And so there's no real rules around that. So it's just kind of where we are as a college football landscape. So if you want to check more of that out, check out the YouTube, subscribe over there, like, comment, be all part of that community. Subscribe. Ton of fun to do. We have a Nebraska side, an Iowa side, an Iowa State side that does really well. So appreciate all the help. But yeah, that's kind of all I had on this one because there's so much that was covered last night and more starts to leak as the days go.
Yeah, and we'll see because this is an open-ended thing where, I mean, with the bridge, it feels like the bridges have been burned now with the response of the fan base. I've seen his parents added on Twitter all the nasty stuff.
He burned the bridges within that football program. I mean, you commit, decommit, hit the portal, come, and then decommit again. So yeah, bridges are burnt. I can't imagine he'll ever leave Alabama. I think that it's just a situation. Again, I said last night, FOMO, misses it, thought it was the best spot, regrets the decision, hit the portal, whole thing. So,
yeah,
I mean what are you going to do?
Put out there that this portal opens. There's no saying he's going to Alabama. It doesn't have to be Bama now.
No, exactly.
But it's anywhere, right? This is an open recruitment. So if you've got some money, Ohio State, somebody to throw money at him, then it could not be Bama. But yeah, bridges are burnt. That sucks. Reese, how do you think? From what you saw online, I'm sure you saw some of it, but how do you think Iowa took it? Did you think from an outsider perspective where you don't really have a hatred for any team, but you're born and raised in Iowa, what did you think of how the fans responded?
I feel like the Iowa fan base I've never met one where they're like extremely vengeful. Like, yeah, they'll be upset. Like everybody, okay. Rick gets upset. Rick at what?
Every fan base has psychopaths, and that's the problem with it. So
that's what I'm saying. I've never seen one.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not deep enough.
I've never seen because you're an Iowa fan. You've been to the football games. Like I've never seen one. Like,
you're on the good side of Twitter.
Even Rick talked about like he's never going to talk bad about a kid or whatever. But it's like what he did is very bad. It's shitty.
The initial reaction, like you're saying, is raw emotion because people put their money into it. People put all this time and effort into helping him get reacclimated to the university, reacclimated to the football program. Guy didn't take a snap in spring practice that started this morning. He didn't even take a snap in practice. That's what pissed people off. And so raw reaction, 100%, Reese, you're correct. Like people get mad.
Oh, there was some mad people out there, Reese. I won't say the direct quote because it was that bad, but there was one person out there that had wished that his flight didn't make it to Tuscaloosa, but he didn't put it that nicely. It was posted out there online publicly. Yeah, like
so people can do that. So people don't realize
that's what we call a little much. That's what we call a little much, but college football fandom, it happens. All right, let's jump to the next piece of news. And JP is going to take us through this. College football is growing, baby. We're going to take it 100%. To the moon. Take us through the stats behind it, JP.
100%. And I know, Jake, I know you're driving and stuff, but this will be something that you would love to be a part of and talk about. College football attendance up in consecutive years for the first time since 2017. So, from 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, the first consecutive years in a long time that attendance has grown. Obviously, you have COVID sprinkled in there. On the surface level, it's great. Like all these numbers are going up, right? 2022 was the first time attendance had risen in 8 years. Okay, good, right? COVID, all this stuff. But 8 years ago is pre-COVID. The problem is that the G5s are the ones seeing the issues, right? Your SECs, your Big 10s, your Big 12s, your ACCs, their numbers are going up. But these smaller schools are losing attendance, which means they're losing money. They live on the attendance. They live on these buy games. They live on the attendance they get from people who live around the area. It's just tough. Sunbelt's the only one that had like a big jump, and their football program has gotten so much better with all the schools they've added and all the money they've put into it. They were up 8.67%. Mountain West saw its third lowest attendance number since its inception as a conference, and they were still up 2.7%. The MAC, the lowest since 91. Conference USA, the lowest it's ever had. The American Athletic Conference, it's the lowest or second lowest since its 2013 inception. It sucks for a lot of these schools to keep their feet right, is going to get harder and harder because people are not paying to go watch these games. They're watching them at home. They're going to the bigger school games. So that's why we talk and we scream from the mountaintops that we care about every conference, and we're not lying when we say this. But it is tough for these programs and these conferences to stay afloat when there's so much money flying around and they're being lured to go here or there. People and student athletes and fans are get lured to go to the bigger schools. They always have been, but the numbers have never been this bad. And so it is a little bit of an epidemic. It's kind of a problem. How you solve it, that's out of my pay grade, obviously. Jake, when you look at this or like see smaller conferences losing attendance at the clip they are, like how do you feel, or what? I don't know. What was your first reaction?
Yeah, I don't think the smaller schools are going to get resolved attendance-wise. Like, I think the bigger names and the bigger brands, I think obviously COVID had to do with it. Like, people wanted to get back out. People wanted to get going to games again. They kind of missed it. Maybe took for granted that aspect. TV ratings going up is bullshit. Attendance ratings going up, that is good. That's like physical people actually going to a football game, and that's going to generate profit for, like you said, JP, like the group of fives. My only concern is, like, are we going to – it's kind of like conference realignment. I think we're going to continue to see Power 4 schools raise in attendance, raise in ticket prices, and G5 school attendances are going to continue to go down unless we do something about it, and we need to make it more meaningful. Regionality, look at South Dakota State. I'm sure their attendance have skyrocketed. Why? Because they're national champions at the FCS level. If they were in the MAC, would those attendances be the same? I don't think so. We've talked about it 100 times on this before. Like, does the group of five need to make its own playoff, its own sort of structure? Probably. That's the only, from a not experienced commissioner or rules maker of any kind, like, that's the only solution I see that 100%. The G5 will have increasing their attendance.
Yep. If you kind of look at this, I don't know how you guys felt about it, Parks and Reese, but ticket prices are all-time high at a lot of places. It's hard to get into stadiums, and a lot of people are saying they'd rather watch it from home. They can see more games at once. They can do the whole shebang from Saturdays at home, right? Like, we love that. We love our setups. We have all that stuff, but we go to games. If you are Appalachian State, if you are Western Kentucky, you are who, like, just go down the line. How are you combating this? Because it really feels like it's an uphill battle with a 500-pound sled pulling you down the hill.
Not only that, but I think a lot of it has to do with realignment's going to kill some of these conferences themselves. Like, take a look at the American on here. Second lowest ever since the 2013 inception of it. I mean, you lose Cincinnati, you lose Houston. All of a sudden,
lose SMU.
You lose all these big brands and who draw the biggest crowds of the conference. Then all of a sudden, these numbers go down. And now when they pull these teams up, like, hey, which conference can we get rid of here that's not really helping us grow the sport or making us more money? Those are the ones that are going to stick out. So we need something to happen. I urge everybody to go to the games. I think the atmosphere is the best part about college football. It's what makes it the best, better than the NFL. But it also is going to hurt TV a little bit. I mean, these people are at the games. I think we can all speak for it. When we go to the games, it's hard to stay dialed into your phone, or if you're at the tailgate, to not have only one TV. Like, how long are you going to be watching it? But if the sport grows and Diane Sawyer in California is going to watch Oklahoma now play Alabama rather than Alabama play Middle Tennessee, then we might have a win-win. But it's a risk. What do you think, Reese?
Isn't Diane Sawyer a real person?
I think it's an author.
That's a name of a person.
Somebody
definitely a real name.
Somebody in the comments.
It might be like an actual author.
Familiar.
I think you're right.
Definitely a name. Diane Sawyer. That sounds like a news anchor is what that sounds like. Anyway, but I think it kind of goes with it too when you're talking about the big programs. Like, when USC goes to play Rutgers, like Rutgers and Poughkeepsie, they might be like, hey, let's go to the game so you can watch USC. But like, when Rutgers goes to USC, I don't think fans in Los Angeles are like, oh, we got to go to the Coliseum to watch Rutgers come to town. Like, kind of two ends of a sword, where it can have its benefits and it can have its downfalls as well. But yeah, with those smaller schools, it's just because then your collective's getting hurt when you don't have attendance. You know, people showing up for everything. But yeah, it's an issue that they got to resolve. I think. And like we talked about before, like with your ADs, but it's got to be something that you have to do with your entire school and probably work with your conference. Like, hey, what can we do for these? Because you talked about realignment as well too. Like those smaller schools where they lose their biggest rivals in conference, that's what drives people to come to the games. And if that game isn't there, that kid who has his every year, that's where he goes to the game with his dad. If they don't have that, that's 2 less fans, and that are going to that game. And you add that by how many families that are fans of that school that are not going to go to that game anymore. So like it just kind of adds up and compiles.
Looking at you, Maryland basketball and football.
Well, look at the downfall of like TV though. Like the Conference USA as a conference as a whole is trying to get its maximization in money by playing on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. But who the hell in Ruston, Louisiana is going to go want to watch a football game on a Tuesday night in October? Like people are out of their way to go
Jake's
to these football games. I said, can you hear me?
Somebody mute the kid. Barely.
I muted it.
The kid's battling. I'm more
all
nervous
I'm
for the
saying-
first live car accident in podcasting history.
I was
That's not a
gonna
bad
say,
point,
He
though.
dialed in.
These people are going to Ponchatoula's is what they're doing and drinking
Yeah.
and having Cajun food.
Because they're from home.
Yeah.
They're from home.
Yeah,
That's
if you've
inside
never
joke
been down
with
there,
it, but-
travel down there. We obviously have.
Hey, they have
inside
beautiful
jokes
facilities in
but
Ruston, though. I'll
They
say
do.
that.
Weight room right by the football field.
They have new facilities that are great. The
Baseball
tornado
field is
kind of,
sweet.
yeah, their baseball field is awesome, and they built dorms right on the outside of it that look down in the outfield. It's awesome, beautiful place. Travel to Ruston, drive through margaritas. They could sell that place all
True.
night. But
Waffle
good,
House
very
next to
good
your
spot.
hotel.
All right, last point of tonight's recent news. Let's go to the biggest news probably that we've seen all year, and that's the announcement of Friday Night Football. And we actually have a game on the schedule. And JP, you kind of talked about it last week that it needs to be a specific type of game for them not to ruin it. A lot of people were pissed off saying it's kind of like high school football now. But to me, this is a perfect game.
This fits the bill.
Yes,
This is a fun
right?
game.
Arizona K-State, September the 13th. It's Friday the 13th. Game EMAW versus Bear Down. I like it. It's perfect teams. What do you think, JP?
This is exactly what I was looking for. Like, if they'd have thrown me like West Virginia, Houston, I would have been kind of upset. I won't lie to you. You throw me Arizona, a team that's coming into the conference with a chance to win it and one of the perennial favorites to be one of the new powers in the Big 12. I'm in. I know Jake is going to be wearing red and blue that night, but I mean, other than that, like, this is perfect.
It's not a
it was hard
conference
for me to
game. Let's
initially-
clarify that. It's not a This is not a Big 12 conference game. I need to clarify that.
We got to treat it as one because they messed up the scheduling so bad.
Yeah, this is one of the. I think it's the only weird spot that we have, right? I think the other one's all panned out, but this is the one that actually is not counting as a conference game, weirdly. But I was initially taken back by the news, but then I thought about it last year. Nebraska obviously always plays Iowa on Black Friday, so we always get our one football game on Friday a year, JP. But Nebraska actually played on Friday the last 2 years as well outside of that game. They played Illinois last year on a Friday night in Champaign, and then the year before that, they played Rutgers on a Friday night in Piscataway. So it's
Iowa
is
played
what
on
it
a
is.
Friday night 2 years ago in 2022 at Maryland on a Friday night. If you
Oh,
remember,
yeah,
that
they
was a
piss
game
pumped them. That
went
was when they were
through,
like
through
number
6 picks.
5 in the country, right?
Yep.
It was like, what is the score? 45-0, something like that. A lot of points.
It was up there.
Yeah, it was an ass whooping. Reese, how do you feel about Friday night football games? Are you going to be able to stop serving our country for a little bit and tune in on Friday night?
I mean, I'll be able to swing it and put it on my TV. I'll tell you what, and because even Syracuse, I'm still going to get it for those football games, but I can stay up late and watch a little. The problem is this Eastern time zone thing. Being an Eastern time zone person watching sports is rough. Like when you get kickoff,
has
at
to
10
be the
o'clock
worst
at
time
night,
zone.
it is. Yeah, it is 100%. Like it's awful. Like USC kicking off with San Jose State earlier in the year. Like, oh, it was like a 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever time it was for you guys. And it's like 8 o'clock here. And I'm like, it's halftime. And I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed, man. Like, holy shit. This is still going
it
on.
shouldn't be too different now. Daylight savings is dead. Thank God. So
Thank
we'll
God,
never
shout out
change the
that- well,
clock
by
back.
the time
Yeah.
it comes back, it's,
Yeah.
you know.
It'll be good. It's a very good thing for sports, but everybody knows Central Time Zone's God's time zone. Everybody knows that. 11 a.m. kicks, 2:30 kicks, and 6 o'clock. It's God's time zone. Because I had the same problem in Vegas. I'm always in Vegas for the national championship for actual work. Kickoff's 4:30. 4:30, the national championship game kicks off. So it's not the best. I mean, the bar's dead. People haven't even got off work yet. So it's weird. But all right, that was recent news. let's jump to our 14-team playoff discussion. We finally finalized the revenue shares last week. We got them right. So the last discussion that we had heard of and had on this show is what they are: 58% in favor of the SEC in the Big Ten splitting, 32% to the ACC in the Big 12, and that leaves 10% for Notre Dame and the other conferences. So we said we hated it last week, and that's what it is now. But the number of teams is not exactly finalized. They haven't put pen to paper yet, but it's leaning towards 14 teams before we ever even see a 12-teamer on the field. JP, what do you think about this?
I'll be quick. I think I've made my thought on it known. It's where we are. We're just gonna have to eat it and go. Bad news is we're never gonna see a dime of this money, and hopefully our programs spend it wisely. Otherwise, it's just for the TV networks.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think I want to go a little bit expanded on it just because I think there is a bad infection in college football right now where the people in these decision-making spots think that everything has to change all the time. Like, can we get a couple of years or maybe even a year of the 12 team before we're like, all right, we're going to 14? Like, how many are we going to get into this during the offseason before we finally get to see something? Like, maybe let's test out the 12 team. Why do we need to change the sport all the time? Like, it's fine. We all right, we made these big changes. We'll see how it goes. College football purists like ourselves are going to have to take this in and then make decisions, or I guess get used to it. No, not really, because in 2 years it's going to look even different. 3 years it could not even be affiliated with the NCAA. But get these infections out of these decision-making roles, because can I see it before you keep changing it? Reese, what do you got?
Say it's hard when there's a lot of money flowing in, I think, for these guys, and they just see that and they're like, how can we make more of it? Yeah, I mean, I was pro expansion, but JP guys are 100% right. They were like 12 isn't going to be enough. So when 16 or 20 teams going to be enough. And it's heading that direction. I said from the beginning, I thought 12 was too much. I thought if you did 8 or 10, that'd be a little bit better. But then again, they probably would just keep going up from there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan. The revenue sharing is tough. Because like those two conferences have such a stranglehold on the sport right now. But at least other conferences can be able to get some of their money. And then if with this expansion, if they're able to, if the ACC or Big 12 are able to become more relevant, then maybe they can argue these sharings when that contract ends. So,
Jake, I'll go to you if you're in a safe spot, if nobody's surrounding you. What do you think? I mean, were you
Let's
right?
go to the caller on the phone lines. Caller number 4.
No, I have a question because I want you guys to talk. I want to throw it back to JP, though. Like, he says this is the times you live in. Like, I don't have much to say. Like, how much longer are we just going to accept the times? I mean, Parks, you kind of talked about it. Like, what are we just going to keep allowing them? They haven't even put 12 on the field yet. We know we're not done with 14 yet. We are. Everybody knows that now. We're not even close to being done. Reese is like, well, what if the ACC becomes relevant? Reese, I don't know if you know, and maybe you guys covered it in the first 5 minutes. A conference is being sued by 2 different schools now. So for them to be relevant is long gone. So my question is, like, how much can we put up with as, like, we call ourselves diehard college football fans? Like, at what point is going to be the tipping point for, like, our niche of a group?
Yeah, Jake, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
From Northwest Iowa there.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
I
63185.
Like, but the problem is within the college football world is I feel like the diehard circle has grown a little bit, but it's not big enough to outnumber the casuals, even the opinions. No matter how strong and no matter how right, no matter how calculated they are, will never outnumber the casual fan that is now going to somehow realize 4 months, 6 months, a year down the road, holy moly, did you guys see Kansas State plays Auburn in a playoff game? They have no idea. They won't care. They know the names of the schools. It'll work perfect, and people are going to love it until give it like 3 or 4 years. If they start becoming blowouts, or something happens, then people might like say something like everybody being on board with not expanding the NCAA tournament for basketball. 100% right. My problem is that everybody and their mom watches that. Not everybody knows the ins and outs of college football and how touchy it is, right? Like, I feel like you get away with the basketball one. Would it be right? No. But getting away with the football one, it's just for all the wrong reasons. People just have it skewed in their head. It's all the wrong reasons. So if you get the right people in the right positions talking the right way, one of us needs to run a conference. One of us needs to be on the board. Not like literally one of us four, but somebody who thinks like us, acts like us, really has us in their heart kind of thing. And I don't see that happening for a while.
Honestly, it leaves me with one question, and that's just, is there a situation in your mind where the 12-team playoff gets put on the field this year and your first thought is, we need 14?
No.
Really? Right?
The moment that Liberty goes down 21-3 to Georgia or to Alabama or whoever, and we're just sitting there and we're like, when's the next game start? Does anybody remember? Everybody's gonna be like, well, this game stinks. Yeah, I bet you it did. I told you it was going to. I told you Georgia's still going to play for a national title or be in the semifinals every year, but you wanted 14 in. They would have been out last year. Here we are.
Yeah, I
Michigan fans, I'm sorry, but it's going to be really tough for you to win another national title like you did last year because Georgia ain't left out anymore.
Yep. And I don't think there's a lot of disagreement across the board of college football fans saying that Georgia probably wins that. I don't think there's a lot of disagreement there. Probably wins that entire playoff, but we'll see what happens. College football, the ever-changing landscape, and we're here to take you through it. But let's go to the point of tonight's episode. We're going to take you through the March Madness bracket of 2024. We're going to pick them as if they are 2023 football teams. So that's the season you just watched, not the teams that they have now. So it's not Dylan Raiola's Nebraska. It's not Cade. Well, I guess Cade McNamara's there, but he didn't play most of the year. But we can give McNamara his spot on the field, but they're not in this anyway. But 2023 teams. Just be very clear on that, not 2024. So leading off, the rules of it, if they do not have a football program.
Stop scrolling.
I don't know if you guys are on it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
we're good.
I can't see.
Yeah, it's little movement. But if they do not have a football program, they are automatically eliminated in the round of 64. There are a few on here that do not, so they will automatically be out. But this is based off 2023. First round matchup, you have UConn and Stetson. I think we talked about whether or not Stetson has a program. I think they do.
I feel like
but
they do. They play in like the Pioneer League. I can't remember right.
No,
you got to give UConn.
I can't go to the phone lines right now. We only get 4 phone friends. We're going to go UConn here.
Yeah, you got to go UConn because 3 years ago, you might have had a little bit of a battle here, but UConn's actually somewhat competitive now, and you got to think that they would take down Stetson. FAU and Northwestern. This is where it gets a little interesting. Is this Casey Thompson FAU with him on the field? Because he injured his leg week 3, didn't play.
I'm getting Northwestern wins this, whether he's
I still think you with Ben Bryant.
Oh, I don't know. They were pretty good.
David Braun.
Well, I got a 3-1. I got a head nod out of Jake, a yes out of Reese. That's 3-1.
No. I'm not saying FAU. I'm saying it would have been close. I would have given Northwestern 2. David Braun, my coach of the year. Come on, don't put me down.
This would have been a close spread, but I think I was going to win that game. Yeah,
it would have been a fun battle with Casey Thompson. All right, San Diego State, UAB, JP, lead it.
Wow, San Diego
it's a tough one
last year.
That is a tough one.
UAB.
Yeah, I think UAB too.
This
is going to be a messy.
I'm going to take Dilfer and the Blazers here, though, because I do think that San Diego State struggled last year. They couldn't score a thing. That'll change with Sean Lewis, but I'll go with UAB.
Brand new stadium. I heard it was 9,000 degrees on that stadium. They built it incorrectly, but UAB. We're going to advance UAB here. I think they come with the upset. Program did not exist like 7 years ago. Here they are winning a March Madness.
Just give me one of these or one of these if you're agreeing with what I'm saying.
I'm kind of torn on it, but I'm not going to really fight UAB San Diego State. So you guys, we're good.
Pick your battles, and that's not one.
All right, Auburn and Yale. Yale does have a football team. They're a blue blood of college football to some extent. Way back in the day, the most national championships in college football history. But let's go Auburn here.
That one,
right?
Yep, don't even.
But they're going to get boat raced. Here we go.
Yeah,
go Tigers.
Not. Yep, absolutely Auburn there. BYU and Duquesne. Let's go BYU here, right?
I think they play a like Pioneer like thing. You go BYU. You're gonna go Illinois. We're not even think about it.
Yeah, we got to go.
Probably gonna go Wazoo, even though Drake made an FCS playoff last year.
This is Cam
Ward. What we got here, Shave. This is a battle right here.
Now we're talking. Now we're getting into a battle.
Shave.
This is legitimate concerns here.
I've seen a lot of SDSU winning the national title on other people's side, and I don't see it.
It's asinine. I don't either.
I can tell you why they see it because Iowa State struggle with UNI every year. This team wins national titles at the FCS level, and they gave Iowa a hell of a fight 2 years ago. Like, nobody wants to play them. Like, I'll go with Iowa State, but I think this is like a 6-point spread in Ames.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. That team was good last year. I will give them clones. We'll give it to them.
clickbait this so
We
hard
both
and put it on
destroyed
TikTok.
you and I at home. Like it's the same
It's
same
true.
thing.
Yeah,
But
you and I
it's
is one of
on
the
the
worst
road.
football
You're going
teams.
to
Yes,
Brookings. You guys couldn't play football in Athens. I don't know about Brookings, South Dakota. I don't know.
that's true. They would be going on the road. Good point. All right, we're going down to the West region, North Carolina. Just
Yep.
put North Carolina.
Yep.
Michigan
This would be a good one,
State
too.
and Mississippi State. This would be a battle. These were two very bad schools last year.
This would be a over under at 40.
I'm taking Michigan State.
Yeah, I am too. I think they showed
Those
some
are two
things.
bad
They
football
had
teams in 2023.
Dave?
but-
a young, talented quarterback. Mississippi State was not very good at all. Fired their coach middle of the way through the year. So Michigan State it is.
St. Mary's does play football apparently, so you have to just default them in. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Grand Canyon, you're
Right,
out.
Yep.
Everyone spend time on
Bama.
that one?
Yeah. No
Bama,
need.
it'd be a battle. They might actually play each other week 11. It's just very SEC.
You can go
but
ahead and put Alabama in the Sweet 16 too.
Yeah.
Just click that one.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Clemson, New Mexico. We'll give that one to Dabo. Old time
Sadly,
Dabo. They'll obviously
need the
win that
logo.
matchup.
Probably
Wait
good call
till
on that one.
College Football 25 comes out and I'm at the helm down there in Albuquerque.
Colgate and Baylor. We're going to give that one to Baylor, even though Aranda's squad. I think Aranda's going to
Waco.
be jobless after 24, but Baylor had a down year, and I still think they take down Colgate. Let's go Dayton, and I can't read
Nevada.
that team. Nevada, thank you. It's very small on my screen.
It's
Nevada, right?
Reese. Yep.
Yep.
Arizona.
And then Arizona, yep.
Huh?
And
try
then
and
let's
be
just
as
do
clean
the
and
Cross and all the
we're
way
gonna
up
go the
top.
If
whole
you
64.
disagree, drop in a comment, by the way. If you're in here and
I'm
you're
pretty
like,
sure-
what
Up top.
the
Here we
hell?
go.
I'm pretty sure Dayton's like one of the worst FCS programs in like the last 10 years. They play in the Pioneer League.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough mark because they're already eliminated anyway. All right, Houston's definitely taking down Longwood. Big 12 Houston Cougars are taking down
What
that
a name
matchup.
for a school, Longwood, huh?
Here's where we can have a fight, gentlemen.
There's no fight here. Not
There is no
2023.
fight. Yeah.
I
This
don't
year
know.
I
We're
will,
talking
I will
about a
hear
top
every
15
argument.
defense.
I will
We're talking about
hear
a
every
top 15 defense.
Parks. I will hear every argument you have for 2024. I will not hear a 2023 one.
Are
Fine.
we? If Nebraska's the higher seed, does that mean it's being played in Lincoln?
Yes. No.
It would
Wait.
be.
Or do we want? I was kind of going all neutral site. But
Oh,
we could-
I think we said South Dakota State would have played as a home team because they were on the bottom. So I think we give this to A&M in the fact that
I
was
don't think it
played.
matters where you play.
Oh, it matters.
As long as you
Yeah.
got, but you guys had a quarterback that couldn't take care of the ball no matter where you play. That was the problem.
we had
They
three
had a
quarterbacks that couldn't take care of the ball, not just one. We had three of
Exactly.
them.
That's why I said, yeah.
So that's fine. Texas A&M. If 24, I wouldn't fight this
Then
probably for the
it
rest
could
of
be
the
a
show.
debate. Then it could be a debate.
It would be a debate. All right, Wisconsin, James Madison. We'll give this to. Ooh, this would be a little bit
This
of
is
a
a
battle.
good game too.
Yeah.
This would be a little bit of a battle.
I want to go James Madison. Let's do it.
I
for the
do.
click.
I do
Just
too.
for clicks.
James,
Yep.
James
I don't
for a
even think it's for the
12-5er.
clicks. This is
I think you
the
get
Sun
Jordan
Belt Player of the
McLeod
Year.
against a defense that's all right and a good James Madison defense against a Wisconsin team that struggled through the air a little bit. If you get Mordecai that plays quarterback, I don't think it even matters. Like, let's just have a little fun with it because that James Madison team deserved better than what they got.
Yeah,
There you
I like
go.
this. No, I truly believe this. I don't even think it's clickbait. All right, Duke, move them on. Riley Leonard, that's a part of that Duke team in this situation. Texas Tech, NC State. This is a little bit of a battle too.
Yeah, give me the
NC
9-3 Wolfpack here.
Yeah,
I think you go.
I
on some-
think so as well. But is this a injury? Tyler Shuck?
We're getting
Or no?
everybody's full strength. Everybody's full strength.
Okay, everybody's full
strength,
strength. I don't know, but
Brandon Armstrong wasn't that
But
great.
all right, we'll give NC State the edge. I think I'd get
Texas,
outvoted.
am I getting Texas Tech that played Oregon at home, or am I getting Texas Tech from weeks later in the year where they were playing awful football?
Well, big quarterback was a big difference there. Jake, you got Texas Tech or what?
No, I mean they
Yeah.
weren't playing. They weren't playing that bad. I mean they won a bowl game by
no,
30.
if he has to say they weren't playing that bad, they lose.
Well, that's after the injury. They were playing great
Oh.
against Oregon.
What? Who's playing quarterback for NC State?
Brandon Armstrong.
question.
MJ Morris.
You got 4 games out of him.
Full strength,
True.
Jake.
All right, we'll say
went with-
NC State.
we
We'll
went
give it
with
to
the
you,
11.
JP.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yes, please. Florida.
Or Boise, Colorado.
Ooh, this would be a
Boise State,
battle.
Colorado. Ooh.
It's definitely if it's Colorado, definitely not. If it's Boise,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta go Florida. You gotta go
Let's
SEC
go Florida.
talent.
Let's just go. Yep. Western here.
Western
Yep.
Kentucky.
The tops on top. All right, we're finally to the final region. Sorry, we're going a little slow. We got to think some of these out, but Purdue, can move them on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go
Yep.
Purdue.
Oh, Montana State's so good as an FCS program. But yes.
Yeah,
just
I know.
Purdue.
That's why I was like, well,
Hudson Card.
TCU, Utah State was god awful a season
Dude,
ago.
Yeah, see, I
Purdue
think you
was
got
bad
TCU.
last year. Did we just do that wrong? It could be Montana
We got to
State.
stay with it because it's not going to show up Montana State on the bracket. It'll
That's
show
fair.
up Grambling.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
true.
that's
people are gonna
true.
think
All right, TCU, yep.
McNeese here.
Kansas, no doubt. South Carolina and Oregon. Please, Beamer squad had a tough year
Akron.
last year. Yeah, it's got to go Akron. It's definitely not Creighton. They would suck. anyway.
Texas.
That's going to make their fans mad. Texas, absolutely, and Tennessee.
All right, back up
All
here.
right, moving on to the round of 32. Hopefully, we're not going too slow for everybody, but UConn and Northwestern. Got to go to Northwestern. David Braun squad, right? Everybody in agreement?
agree.
Yes. Auburn over UAB.
Yep.
Yep.
We're getting a little nitty gritty here. Football.
Go just
You wanna
go
go over
straight
here or do you
across.
wanna go
Yep,
down?
go straight
yeah,
across.
just go straight across. We'll
Right.
go.
A&M.
We'll go A&M over Houston.
Duke.
Yeah,
So you're getting Riley Leonard.
yeah.
We're getting a good Duke
With Riley Leonard and Elko. Yes. All right. This is a tough matchup. Both teams had down years. Altmaier. I'm going to say Illinois' defense was okay. BYU got blown out by Iowa State.
I'll take Illinois.
Jake, what do you got on this? You got Illinois or BYU?
Illinois. They got a much
All right.
better defense.
Illinois it is.
Illinois it is.
Iowa State, Washington State. This is Cam Ward
aye.
included Washington State. Be very clear. But this is another great
But
match.
Dan, what team am I getting? Like what version of these teams am I getting?
think
I know,
you go
but
Iowa
you-
State.
I
You have
think
two
you do
good quarterbacks here. You have
You get a
Big 12
better, I
freshman
think you
year
get a
Rocco
better
Beck.
defense.
Yep, I would take Iowa State too.
What is everybody? Is anybody's out there that's thinking, we're wrong, or throw it in the comments? You got Iowa State here. I think we're going to go Iowa State. I think Cam Ward, they were so bad in the second half of the year outside of the Colorado game that it's fair. All right, going across, you go NC State and Kentucky. You got to go Kentucky and Ray Davis, right?
I kind
don't
of
know.
You're an NC State homer.
Here.
You're an NC State homer. Admit it.
I'm just saying I think they're better, but
Really?
that's just my vote. That's just my vote.
Shave.
He's giving the head nod.
I'll go NC State.
Wow. Disrespect
Reese.
to Ray Davis.
11 seed. Here we go.
Wow.
Florida?
They're going deeper. I think Kentucky
Florida,
should have
yeah.
beat him there. Yep, absolutely. Florida over Western Kentucky going down, continuing on at the round of 32. Let's start on the left side. Alabama's already advanced, but they will play
Carolina.
North Carolina. Yep, absolutely. North Carolina there. Michigan State still wasn't good.
TCU?
They won the first round. Yes, TCU. Purdue was very bad.
KU.
Yep. KU is very good.
Love it.
Oregon.
This is a bye game.
Texas, Tennessee would be a fun one, but you got to go Texas.
That's good. That's a great matchup right
Clemson.
there.
Arizona.
In Arizona.
Yep.
That should be everything. All right, we'll start here and then we'll go up.
All right, I love it. All right, Clemson, Arizona, JP. This would be a little bit of a battle.
This would be a great game.
Klubnik, Fafita. This would be a fun one. It's 2023 rosters as a reminder if you're just hopping in.
Arizona
here.
had a better defense than people remember. I'll go Arizona.
I think I
What?
would use Fafita too.
100.
Oh, we got one
I-
Clemson.
I'm sorry. I'm going Arizona.
All right, there we go. That's 3.
I'm too big on Nova Fafita, and that team was astoundingly good for what they were. Oregon over Texas, or Oregon or Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably your national title here. I'm going to go Texas, though.
Yeah, I think you go Texas.
If you're
'cause
playing by the rule
Oregon
of,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's
The
Washington
way
beat-
Washington threw the
beat
ball
Oregon
on them, I
twice.
think Oregon could do it too. That's my only stress here is I think Oregon could effectively pass the ball like Washington did. I'll
they probably
say, yeah,
run it. They probably run it better too. I'm okay if you go Oregon here.
I'm
just
okay
saying.
with
I
Oregon.
would not complain. Jake thinks Texas. Reese, you're the final vote.
Let's go Oregon. Let's have some fun with
Okay.
it. Let's go
Yeah,
Oregon.
yeah.
That's going to piss a lot of people off. But if you explain it, like you got to
Let's
think
have some
of the
fun
way
with
that
it.
Washington threw the ball. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way Bo Nix, Troy Franklin couldn't do that as well. But all right, TCU and Kansas. Start on the right
Kansas.
side.
Kansas,
I
sorry.
go Kansas here as
Kansas.
well. Jason Bean,
And then
stud.
Bama.
Yep.
Yes.
Bama, North Carolina. That's an obvious
Here,
one.
yeah. There's the Elite
So-
Eight on that bottom side. All right. Starting off, Illinois, Iowa State. This would be a dogfight
This is
too.
Iowa State again.
Yeah.
This
I
is
think
the
so,
easiest
too.
game Iowa State's had to date, actually.
Yeah, I would say that too. Florida NC State. Probably go
That's
NC
gotta be-
State.
Yeah, I would
honestly.
Probably
say
NC
that.
State again.
Yeah. If anybody disagrees, drop it in the comments. But we have NC State here making an absolute
Auburn?
run. Northwestern.
Auburn, yeah, I would say Auburn. As
It
much
might
as I would like to
Elko
go
Bowl.
Northwestern,
I think
just
the spot of the
SEC.
game depends a lot. That Northwestern defense was pretty good. Auburn did get beat by New Mexico State.
Yep,
They
we're
did.
going Auburn.
They
here.
almost Auburn. Okay.
Really? I could see that both
You go-
ways.
and I think you go Duke here.
the Mike
That's
Elko
where mine's
Bowl
at.
here.
Yeah, Mike
Mike
Elko
Elko,
Bowl here.
literally.
That's exactly what it
I
is.
think
But
you
Duke.
go Duke.
Yep, we'll go Duke.
All right, and then our Elite Eight here. Our first four, we got Auburn and
This is
Iowa State.
disgusting.
Man,
This is gross.
dude, who do you go
We got
with?
the matchup on the right.
Well, if we go right, we have to go Duke because Duke did beat NC State this year.
Yep.
Correct. And on the left, I think you go Auburn, right?
The hell you go Auburn? Let's see. You talk about easiest game to date. I think Auburn's easy. I can't believe you guys didn't pick Northwestern.
I said Northwestern. Don't put that on me like I just said Auburn.
Auburn got boat raced by Maryland and New Mexico State in like a 3-week span.
They also almost beat Alabama at home. Not for the Milroe Miracle.
Iowa State's not their Super Bowl.
All right, Jake, you can have this one.
All right.
Wow,
Clones?
we're letting Jake make a deep run.
Guys,
Clones it is.
Clones are in the Final Four. Duke's in the Final Four.
Oh man, this is messy. We got to post this picture. So you got to screenshot this, and people are not going to be happy. Alabama, obviously, over Arizona.
Yep, we'll go
Be a
Alabama here.
dogfight
This
for a
is
while.
just raw talent there.
And then I think Oregon gets the best of
Gotta go
Kansas.
Oregon.
Oregon.
All right, our Final
So
Four.
here we are. We
All right,
have-
Jake, you can shut up now, right?
yeah,
Alabama, Iowa State.
absolutely, he can shut his mouth.
Sorry, Shave.
Alabama and
Oregon?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Gotta go Oregon.
All right.
I don't
Here's
know,
the
man.
time.
Dude,
Here's
this is
how do we
the
want to
game.
handle this? There's only one way to handle this. We play clicks. People know, like, you know what I mean? Like, we go Oregon here.
We go
Somebody's
Oregon.
gonna get very upset.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
it's
great
not
because
quick
it's
flop.
not that odd. It's not that odd.
Well,
I don't
this
think it's that
spread
out
would
there.
this spread would probably be what?
Alabama 2.5, 3.
I was gonna say 3.5, 4 maybe.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I think Michigan and Oregon had very similarly effective run games. I really do. I think people underestimate Oregon's run game last year. And I also think that Oregon gives you a better threat throwing the ball, like
This
Troy
would be a
Franklin
lot
versus Roman Wilson. So you got to
I-
think they can
I
beat
go
them, right?
Oregon. I'll hear Jake's thoughts here.
Jake, what do you think? Are we crazy?
I think, and it doesn't help that Liberty played Oregon. Like I'm trying to think of the last game. I just think Alabama's physically better. Was better than Oregon. Like they win 17-14 or something like that. They keep it low.
That's disgusting.
I
don't know
don't.
if
It's
I
that
have that.
low scoring.
Mute it again. Mute him. Oregon.
I think we
So
go Oregon
one-
too. Let's just have a little fun with it.
All right.
Reese. All right, Oregon. Does it do anything cool when you do it? Oh yeah, scroll up a little bit. Yeah. We'll get the
That's what I
Oregon
did.
logo in there. Hit the screenshot on that so we can post it, or I'll just smile for the clicks. Yeah, that is what it's going to be. But I don't think we're wrong. I really don't. So
Imagine if they
100%.
did this
I
for
think that's
college
perfect.
football, though. You had a 64-team playoff.
we're probably leaning towards it. You joke.
We're getting
But
there.
We're getting there. We're going to see Longwood play Houston in the first round. I mean, we are closer getting closer to it than we are back to the 14 playoff. I'll tell you that right now. We're going up. So, all right, that's pretty much everything we had to cover tonight. We try to keep it light. March Madness is just starting. First true day of it is tomorrow. We got the first 4 games going on right now, but we got to cover a lot these next few weeks. That spring window is coming quick for the transfer portal.
Jake, yeah. If you're gonna talk because you sound like you're driving.
I just want to know who everybody has to win it all. What's our national championship pick?
All right.
We're giving a college basketball pick.
Let's start with Parks. Start with Parks. I don't know if you filled out your bracket yet, Parks.
Yeah, I did. I had to fill mine out for the fiance's work bracket so she can maybe win something, but I have Houston winning it all.
Do you know your other 3 Final Four guys?
No, I don't. Off the top of my head, I did it yesterday, and I can't think of it.
I took chalk. I had UConn winning it. I think they played Creighton, and then I had UConn playing Kentucky, and I forget who my other Final Four team was.
Okay.
I lied. I did also have Creighton in the Final Four. That's a good call.
Okay, that's not good because I thought I was being a little odd doing that. My Final Four as of right now, I don't love it. I'm just not going to back Purdue at any point in March. I have UConn, Houston, Creighton, and I believe I can't remember who I have through the other region.
Oh, I had Zona on the bottom side. So I had Arizona as one of mine.
I had chalk. I had UConn beating Houston in the national title because that's really what I want to see. And this is about I want to see that game more than I've wanted to see a certain college basketball game in a long time.
I think a Creighton Arizona final would be awesome. Jake, go on mute, blind the listeners. But
what's the correct answer, Jacob?
If my reception's not bad here in the middle of nowhere, I have UConn, Arizona, Marquette.
That's a good pick.
And Gonzaga at this very moment. That is to be determined. That could be changed tomorrow.
Okay.
I do not trust the Midwest.
Shaka Smart and Dan Hurley are the 2 biggest wieners in college basketball, so it'd be fun to see them battle it
for his own team.
Yeah, that's true. He does get out there, and Hurley's just a crazy asshole. That guy is an insane person.
Fun,
dude, they do make it interesting. The Big East will be deep in this tournament somehow, some way. JP, closing thoughts before we end tonight's show.
Yeah, just want to say appreciate everybody joining in. I know we're in one of the slower times, but when this hits mid-April, we are going to be nonstop balls to the wall with just the amount of news we have to cover. So appreciate everybody joining in. Have a hell of a time watching the first week of college basketball. Just want you to know the NIT is still going on, and Iowa is in the NIT. So if you care to watch real basketball, it goes on in the NIT.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we'd let that slide if Jake didn't have to be on mute. He's risking his life to talk.
Wait. We do have a question. We have a question.
Okay.
We just are you a basketball fan, Reese? Do you have a college basketball team?
No.
Okay. Is it Syracuse?
I mean, if I had to pick one, probably. I went to a game this year. It was a good time.
If you were to pick a team,
yes.
Does it have to be the same school?
As your football team?
As your football one.
Absolutely.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's the deal. There's an argument here because the school he cheers for, we're talking about Parks. No, Parks' team does have a basketball program. And that he doesn't cheer for.
I won't be cheering for him.
But you don't.
I don't care if they lose. And I will because of the athletic director situation. I don't know. We can put that question out, but I don't know. I have family ties to Georgetown. I don't have to be a Georgetown football fan. I'm born and raised in Nebraska, but I think Georgetown's a basketball school. That's what it's known for. Or at least it was.
It was.
But no, I'm Georgetown.
You want a great variation of that question to be is Brandon McClintock, because isn't he an Iowa and a Texas fan? So does
correct.
He cheer for?
He's the worst.
If you're going to root for a basketball school as such as Georgetown, that needs to be your favorite team. That's my only exception.
That is my favorite team.
No.
Of all your sports, that means it goes above Nebraska football. If your football team has a basketball team, you're obligated to make them a pair.
I do not think so whatsoever. Because what about the Nebraska football fans that are Creighton fans because they live in Omaha?
the majority of those people went to Creighton, though. Therefore, I get a pass. Right? I thought that was the
so
whole
I,
point.
I
Right
couldn't
about
get into
down in
Georgetown,
Georgia.
Jordan. Sorry, I'm not smart enough for you. We
Dude,
would have never
you
met.
think I could have gotten to Georgetown. I could get into Georgetown College, and Kentucky plays NAIA sports.
Yeah, I don't know what
Shout
to
out
say
that
here.
school.
I'm a Georgetown fan. I've never cheered for Nebraska. Like, I would get this argument or this come at me
Yeah,
if
Fred
I was
Hoiberg.
talking shit in favor
I
of Nebraska.
know. I have friends who are Creighton fans, but it's Creighton basketball, Creighton basketball, and Nebraska football. Nebraska football is below Creighton basketball. They would rather.
I get that your other friends that aren't in this show are losers, but that has nothing to do with me. I don't know why they're being brought up. That's not my problem. I mean, they have other problems. They like
I'm
basketball
sorry,
over
they're
football.
wrong.
Grow up. It's America's sport. But all right, I took a little heat. I'll take it. I'll wear it. But go Hoyas when they're back. Oh, when they're back. I say that
It is
about all
good
my
that
teams now.
you're this age when they're awful. Otherwise, if they were really good when you're this age, the amount of flack you would catch for bandwagon would probably drive you insane. Like,
The
Yeah.
most
if they're
memorable thing
this
about
bad,
Georgetown in the last 10 years is probably Lob City, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, can't get away from those Florida Gulf Coast. I remember that team was so good too. Markel Starks, dude, that Otto Porter, that team was
So
loaded.
good.
I was like,
And
we're
Georgetown
running
was-
deep in the
they
tournament.
were disgusted.
They just couldn't get it done, man.
Here comes Florida Gulf Coast to the Sweet 16. Damn.
Hey, that's what
Brett
happens.
Comer. Brett Comer was the bastard who threw the lob to Sherwood. No, it wasn't to Sherwood Brown, but he was also a stud on that Florida Gulf Coast team. I'm a Georgetown fan. I watched the games. I remember it. It was traumatic. So suck on that take.
Wrap
But,
it up.
All right, that was a fun one. We'll see you next week. We got another good show. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but it'll be something fun to get interactive with. This is a show from fans, for fans, unfiltered college football content. You're in the place to be. Jake, can you unmute and take us away?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Hey, even on the road, we're still playing it.